Hello folks, let me know if you guys can hear me real quick. Let me know if you guys can hear me pretty good or no, or what's going on. How's everybody doing? We have a lot of news coming out. Let me know if you guys can hear me. How's it going, Carolyn? We got Just in Time in the house. We got Mikey 340 Bird. We got Valerie. We got Lifestyle. We got Kelly. Who else we got? We got Loose Screws. How's it going? Awesome. So I'm gonna make this. The reason I streamed this real quick instead of making it a video is because a bunch of stuff is coming in, but we are going to discuss President Trump's first 100 days compared to Obama's first 100 days. And they put up a new place on the White House website regarding President Trump's America First 100 days. As you guys can see on the screen, it says America First. We're going to go down a little bit. And as you guys can see, it says President Trump's first 100 days. And it says in his first 100 days, President Donald Trump has taken bold action to restore prosperity, keep Americans safe and secure, and also hold government accountable. So at a historic pace, this president has enacted more legislation and signed more executive orders than any other president in over half a century, with a focus on rebuilding the military, ending illegal immigration, and restoring confidence in our economy. The president is keeping his promises to the American people. Okay, so up to right now, what they're saying is 100% true. Okay, so up to right now, what they're saying is true. He is trying to do all those things as promised, because that's what he promised during the campaign and the election and all that stuff. And for a lot of people, that's the reason why they voted for President Trump. Maybe they didn't agree with him personally, but they understood that some of these things really needed to be done. Okay. A lot of politicians, a lot of rhinos never would even come close to speaking the stuff that, or bring up the issues that President Trump brought up. Okay, so let's start off with building American prosperity. That's what it says. It says President Trump's actions are restoring economic optimism and renewing the American spirit. So they're talking about jobs. They're talking about business. They're talking about the economy. Okay. It says over 500,000 new jobs. Over 500,000 new jobs with a surge in female employment last month. Okay. So during the first 100 days, President Trump has been very good for Wall Street, making them an immense amount of money. It has been pretty good for business. Okay, a lot of different businesses have promised to invest in America, bringing jobs back and all that other, good stuff. Now, how long is it going to take? We have no idea. But according to the White House, they're saying that over 500,000 new jobs have been created within the first 100 days of the presidency. Another thing too, okay, the amount of debt has been going down within the first 100 days. But I'm pretty sure that they're going to talk about that too. Right here it says approved the Dakota Access Pipeline and the Keystone XL Pipeline. There has been protests going on. It had turned violent for a while. It started to die down. And as of right now, I don't know if they're still out there, protesting and doing all that stuff. I have no idea. But President Trump said one thing: I'm going to approve it, but we're going to negotiate with the people that are protesting. What do they want? What are we going to do to make this a little bit better for everybody? Are they going to actually sit down at the table and negotiate with us, or just protest it and make have like no idea of what they want? They just want to protest. And, President Trump said we're willing to sit down with them and come up with a deal, come up with a plan. And he said, as the job keeps going, the pipeline keeps going, everything that is made, all the material, it has to be 100% American. American steel American pipe, American steel, American everything. All of the stuff that is going to be used for those pipelines has to be made in America. So that's what he said. There's a little clause at the bottom that says all of the material being used has to be American. Okay. Let's see if we can see this real quick.
Announced the official approval of the presidential permit for the Keystone XL pipeline. TransCanada will finally be allowed to complete this long overdue project with efficiency and with speed. We're working out the final details as we speak. It's going to be an incredible pipeline, greatest technology known to man or woman, and frankly, we're very proud of it. Russ Girling, president of TransCanada, is right behind me, and I'm going to have to say a few words. I know, Russ, you've been waiting for a long, long time, and I hope you don't pay your consultants anything, because they had nothing to do with the approval. In fact, you should ask for the hundreds of millions of dollars back that you paid them, because they didn't do a damn thing except get you a no vote, right? It's a great day for American jobs and a historic moment for North America and energy independence. This announcement is part of a new era of American energy policy that will lower costs for American families and very significantly reduce our dependence on foreign oil and create thousands of jobs right here in America. And I also would like to add, I think it's a lot safer to have pipelines than to use other forms of transportation for your product. When completed, the Keystone XL pipeline will span 900 miles, wow, and have the capacity to deliver more than 800,000 barrels of oil per day to the Gulf Coast refinery. That's some big pipeline. The fact is that this $8 billion investment in American energy was delayed for so long, it demonstrates how our government has too often failed its citizens and companies over the past long period of time.
All right. So basically that's what happened. He said that the pipeline will be done. And like I said, they'll try to negotiate a way for, to work with the protesters to see what they want. What is it that they're trying to achieve with protesting? But it's going on. It's saying that it's giving Americans jobs. It's going to be made with American material. And we hope that it comes to an agreement between the people that are against it compared to the people that are pro it. And the next thing is promoting America's energy independence, putting coal miners back to work. That was one of his campaign promises. That was one thing that he said time and time again. Trump digs coal was a sign that they had. Coal miners gave President Trump one of their hard hats. It was at one of the rallies. So that was really big for him, saying, there's a lot of people that were affected by all of these regulations, all of these, new sanctions and stuff that we're putting on the people in the coal industry, and they lost jobs and cities went down, and, it was really bad for a lot of people. So now he says that using clean coal, what he calls it, we're going to be able to give those Americans back their jobs and return everything, maybe not back to normal, but start on that path to getting everything back to normal. And the next thing is President Trump has rolled back job-killing anti-coal regulations. That's the same thing I was talking about with promoting American energy independence. There's a lot of stuff that actually has to do with American energy independence. Here, let's hear President Trump talk about it a little bit, and let's see what he says.
Good afternoon. This is a great day for energy independence and a growing American economy. I want to thank our administrator, Scott Pruitt.
I knew they were going to like this one. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. And thank you to our great Vice President, Mike Pence. I'm thrilled that everybody could be here with us today. I want to give special thanks to Administrator Scott Pruitt, Secretary Ryan Zinke, and Secretary Rick Perry for your remarks. I told Rick, I said, run it the way you ran Texas, because it's going to be a great operation. And he did a great job, and we're honored to have all on a level playing field for the first time in a long time, fellas. It's been a long time. I'm not just talking about 8 years. We're talking about a lot longer than 8 years. You people know it maybe better than anybody. Thanks as well to the many distinguished members of Congress who have taken the time to be here. I want to thank all of our industry leaders who are. I also want to thank our incredible. Why don't we get together? We'll go to another place and you'll get another job. You won't mine anymore. Do you like that idea? They said, no, we don't like that idea. We love to mine. That's what we want to do. I said, if that's what you want to do, we will put our miners back to work. People. First, today's energy independence action calls for an immediate reevaluation of the so-called Clean Power Plan. Perhaps no single regulation threatens our miners, energy workers, and companies more than this crushing attack on American industry. Second, we are lifting the ban on federal leasing for coal production. Third, we are lifting job-killing restrictions on the production of oil, natural gas, clean coal, and shale energy. And finally, we are returning power to the states where that power belongs. States and local communities know what is best for them. They understand it. They get it. They've been doing it for a long time. It was taken away from them and not handled well. And they are the ones that we should now and will now empower to decide. My action today is the latest in a series of steps to create American jobs and to grow American wealth.
All right, so that's basically his whole idea was to bring back the coal industry. During the election, Hillary Clinton, to the face of coal miners, told her that they were going to put coal mining companies out of business completely. Not only regulate them, not only crush them financially, but just completely just take them off the map. President Trump said, I'm going to lift the restrictions on American energy that allows this wealth to pour into communities that have been destroyed within the last 8 years. He said much needed reform. Past administrations says burdened Americans with costly regulations that harmed American jobs and energy production. The previous administration's Clean Power Plan could cost up to $39 billion a year and increase electricity prices in 41 states by at least 10%. The Clean Power Plan would cause coal production to fall by 242 million tons, according to the National Mining Association. 27 states, 24 trade associations, 37 rural electric co-ops, and 3 labor unions are challenging the Clean Power Plan in federal court. American energy independence, President Donald Trump's energy independence policy executive order reverses the regulations on American jobs and energy production. It says, freeing up America's potential. President Trump has worked tirelessly to free American industry and ingenuity from the constraints of government overreach. So he's talking about government regulations that is killing not only this sector, but many others just like it. So let's go back real quick. So yeah, so that's what he was talking about, rolling back job killing anti-coal regulations. Now, one of the two last ones when it comes to prosperity is Buy American, Hire American executive order. Now, that one is just recent. It should be up on the channel somewhere. But what that one was is saying, you know what? You need to buy American, hire American. No more Chinese-made stuff that we just continue consuming on a daily basis. Stuff needs to come back to the United States and be built here, so that way we can also buy. Okay, and he's talking about American companies. He's not telling Toyota to come to the United States and build their cars here and sell it only to Americans. No, he's talking about American companies that have to come back to the United States, build their product here if you want to sell it to Americans. Because there's no jobs. America needs jobs in order to spend money. Because that's basically what his policy is. He wants people to have jobs in order to make money so they can turn around and spend that money and continue again and again and again. And that would, bring a lot of money back into the economy so we can be a strong economy again. Not an economy that is trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. So that's what the executive order was all about. It was about buy American, hire American. And he had this speech while at the Snap-on Tools factory in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I hope I'm saying that right. And there he is with the actual Americans, with the workers, people on the ground, asking them, what do you guys think? Should we bring more jobs back to the United States? Should we bring more prosperity? And they're all for it, 100%. Buy American, hire American. Okay, so that's what it's always, with President Trump, that's what it's about. It's about getting Americans back to work so the economy can get a lot better than what, it hasn't been good in a really long time, but we hope that it gets a lot better now. So the next one is putting American workers first. President Trump has taken immediate action on trade. And we actually reported, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, that he said, you know what? NAFTA is a one-way street. And the way it is always out. Jobs are leaving. Manufacturing is leaving. All these companies are going to other countries for the cheap labor and then turning around and selling it here in the United States to Americans for a huge margin of profit. They need to come back, hire American, and if they want to sell it here or whatever, then they sell it. If they want to stay out there, use cheap labor, once it comes in, they're going to get a tariff. That's what was one of the campaign promises of President Trump when he was running, was that if you are an American company and you build your stuff abroad and then you think that you're just going to bring all of your stuff over day by day, right? Boatload by boatload, and just let it go through, it's not going to be like that. You want to do that? Fine. You want to build a big, beautiful manufacturing facility in Mexico and then think that you're going to, bring trucks and truckloads of material back into the state and sell it to Americans for profit? No, it's not going to work like that. 35% tariff on all of that. Because that's the way it's supposed to be. If you're an American company, you build your stuff in the United States using Americans. Well, not hiring Americans. Americans build it. Americans sell it here in the United States. That's the way it's supposed to be. A lot of people say, well, if we sell it, we make it here in the United States and then we try to sell it, they're going to sell it for very, very high amounts of money, right? The price of it is going to skyrocket. It's like, okay, let it skyrocket. So that way, new people, entrepreneurs can come in and steal that market. It's fine. The companies are going to have to fall in line no matter what. Right? If Apple thinks that just because they're going to build their stuff in the United States, instead of charging, like $700 for a cell phone, now they're going to charge $14, nobody's going to buy it. And then they're going to go to other companies. This is the opportunity for entrepreneurs to say, hey, you know what? If these big companies don't put down their prices, we can actually potentially go in there and take those consumers. Okay, so if these huge corporations don't want to put their prices down, which they most definitely can, but they try to make that excuse saying that if we build the stuff here in the United States, it's going to be twice the price, which it's not true. So anyways, moving on to keeping Americans safe and strengthening security. Now, I think like 20 minutes ago, we uploaded a video of a judge that blocked the new sanctuary city. There's a sanctuary city removing funds from them, an executive order, and a judge blocked it, saying that it's overreach, that President Trump cannot take away funding from funding that's already been approved by Congress. Okay, if you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. It just happened. And that judge, the same judge that blocked this executive order right now, he is the same person that blocked the Planned Parenthood videos when undercover reporters went out and passed off as buyers for Planned Parenthood for baby parts. I don't know if you guys remember this. I think it was 2015 when this happened. They went undercover trying to buy baby parts from Planned Parenthood, and it was all over the place. And that is the same judge, the one that just blocked the executive order of President Trump's sanctuary cities taking away funding. He is the same judge that blocked those videos from being put out there. News medias couldn't use it. Nobody could have used it because that judge blocked those videos. Okay, so that's the same guy. And that same judge gave $230,000 to Obama in 2012 for his presidency, for his reelection. So he's nothing but a shill. And they have tons of those. Tons of them. The first one that blocked it, the travel ban or whatever they quoted, the travel ban. The first one, that one was an Obama, an Obama goon. The second one that blocked the other executive order of the travel ban, the one in Hawaii, was also a Democratic goon. And now we have another one that is blocking the sanctuary city, to defund the sanctuary cities around the United States. Because San Francisco, here in California, sued when President Trump signed that executive order. And then now Santa Clara, which is another city here in California, also sued because that one is also a sanctuary city. And this continues happening. And it really, a lot of people say, well, President Trump can't do anything about it because he's not a dictator. And that's not what it's all about. What it's all about is that the president, what he's doing is he's putting out, he's going through with his promises, but he's getting blocked at every point. And then what he tries to do is he tries to comply with them. instead of them comply with the law. That's the thing that I don't understand. Why is it that the president is trying to comply with them instead of making them comply with the law? The law states that if you're an illegal alien, you have no rights. If you are not a U.S. citizen, you have no rights. U.S. citizens are not allowed to vote. U.S. citizens are not allowed to get federal funding of any kind, Section 8 or for, food stamps or welfare or any of those stuff, schooling. You're not allowed to get it if you're a legal alien. Okay, you're not allowed to get weapons, guns. You're not allowed to do a lot of the stuff that is granted to U.S. citizens. Illegal aliens are not allowed to get it. That's the law. Okay, so you have to comply with immigration laws that are already in the books. And instead of the president enforcing the law, he's trying to comply with these judges that are blocking him from enforcing the law. See, that's what I don't understand, is why is it that the president has to the president has to make sure that the people in government comply with the laws. See, that's what it's all about. So let's just look real quick. His executive order on enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States. It says, executive order enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States by authority vested in me as the president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, including Immigration and Nationality Act. And in order to ensure public safety of the American people in the communities across the United States, as to ensure that our nation's immigration laws are faithfully executed, I hereby declare the policy of executive branch to be in order as follows. 1. Purpose. Interior enforcement of our nation's immigration law is of a critical importance to the national security and public safety of the United States. Many aliens who illegally enter the United States and those who overstay and otherwise violate the terms of their visas, it says, present a significant threat to national security and public safety. This is particularly so for aliens who engage in criminal conduct in the United States. Thank you very much, Lisa Jean Williams, for your donation. Thank you very much. Now, it goes on to say that sanctuary jurisdictions across the United States willfully violate federal law in an attempt to shield aliens from removal in the United States. These jurisdictions have caused immeasurable harm to the American people and to the very fabric of our republic. Basically, what they're talking about is that these sanctuary cities are not only shielding and not only protecting illegal immigrants, right? Let's say like the 40-year-old mom that is an illegal alien, or the 40-year-old mom and dad that are illegal aliens, and they're hard workers, right? They bust their asses picking fruit or picking vegetables. Okay, so they protect them, right? But at the same time, they're also protecting, right, the Vato, right, from MS-13 that is causing harm, terrorizing their neighborhoods, and doing bad stuff, right? He has a huge rap sheet. They're also protecting them. Sanctuary cities are supposed to protect those who follow they're not even following the law, but sanctuary cities are supposed to be protecting the good guys, not the bad guys. But in reality, sanctuary cities is illegal as it is because they're not following the law. They're not following their immigration laws here in the United States. It says tens of thousands of removable aliens have been released into communities across the country solely because their home countries refuse to accept their removal. President Trump said these many times. These countries like Mexico and other countries, they don't want the people that are going to send back. They don't want them. They don't accept them. So what do? They have to stay here because the country that they're supposed to go are not taking them back. And this has been happening for 8 years. It says, although federal immigration law provides a framework for federal-state partnership in enforcement of immigration laws to ensure the removal of aliens, it says, who have no right to be in the United States, the federal government has failed to discharge its basic sovereign responsibility. We cannot faithfully execute the immigration laws in the United States if we attempt classes or categories of removable aliens for potential enforcement. The purpose of the order is to direct executive departments and agencies to employ all lawful means of enforcement the immigration law of the United States. So it says make use of all available systems and resources to ensure the efficient and faithful execution of immigration laws in the United States. Ensure that jurisdictions that fail to comply with applicable federal law do not receive federal funds except as mandated by law. Ensure that aliens ordered removed from the United States are promptly removed. Support victims and family of victims of crimes committed by removable aliens. Kate Stanley is a perfect example of something like that. But Kate Stanley's killer is out there. And a lot of other people who have gotten killed, maimed, or assaulted or anything by illegal aliens, they're not getting any help. They're not getting any justice. These illegal aliens are still going out there doing whatever they want to do. Why? Because they can get away with it. You know, and this is very bad. This is very bad for everybody. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that this is really bad for everyone. It says, where was I? Make sure United States, ensure jurisdictions fail to comply with federal law, not receive funds except mandated by law. Ensure aliens ordered removed by the United States are promptly removed. Like I said, support victims and family of victims that commit crimes by removable aliens. The terms of this order, where applicable, shall have the meaning provided by Section 1101 by Title 8 United States Code. Enforcement of immigration laws in interior of the United States, and it says in the policy described in Section 2 of this order, I hereby direct agencies to employ all lawful means to ensure faithful execution of immigration laws of the United States. And it goes on talking about immigration law here in the States. And it says, have been convicted of any criminal offense. So they're starting to talk about what are the rules of illegal aliens being deported. Which ones are they going after right now? They're going after those who have been convicted of criminal offenses, have been charged with criminal offenses where such charge has not been resolved. So what they're saying is that if you have a traffic violation that either you forgot to go back or you forgot to pay or whatever, or or it's still pending, they can actually come and pick you up and take you out. Okay, so any criminal offense. Now, is a traffic violation a criminal offense? Sometimes not really. It all depends. And, because let's say if you were going 10 over, it could be a misdemeanor, but it's still a criminal offense. So it says, it goes, have committed acts that either constitutes to chargeable criminal offenses. So that can fall under if you got in a fist fight with someone outside. Okay. So if you got in a fist fight with someone and you only got a slap on the wrist, that could actually constitute to a chargeable criminal offense because you did something that is against the law. Have engaged in fraud, willfully misrepresentation in connection with any official matter or application before the governmental agency. Have abused any program related to a receipt of public benefits. So people who are illegal aliens that are in Section 8, in welfare, or in getting government money for schooling, which DACA would fall into something like this. So all of those people will be removed. It says, are subject to a final order of removal who have not complied with their legal obligation to depart the United States or in a judgment of an immigration officer otherwise pose a risk to public safety and national security. So if an illegal alien falls under any of those things, then they are up for removal. What they're not doing as of right now is like raiding. You know, a lot of people think that there's a lot of raiding going on where they'll just go and, you know, pick up a whole bunch of people at a warehouse and start asking them for their green cards or, you know, whatever. And they start rounding illegals up. That's not what they're doing. They're just focusing on criminal aliens, people that are falling under those baselines. And that's what they're going after right now. Trying to keep people safe, trying to get criminals off the streets, trying to finally deport those who don't deserve to be here in the first place. That's what it was. That's what it was all about. Okay, so as of right now, that executive order where he promised to take away funding from sanctuary cities has been blocked by a leftist judge, the same judge that, like I said, blocked the videos from coming out of Planned Parenthood selling baby parts. The same judge that gave $230,000 to Obama for his reelection in 2012. Same guy. So let's move on to illegal border crossing dropped 61% in President Trump's first 100 days. Okay. So 61% has gone down. That's what, according to a lot of numbers that have been coming out from DHS, from ICE, Border Security, all those guys, they're saying, you know what, we've seen a significant amount of drop. But one thing that I do have to say, and we actually reported on this, you can check it out on our channel. There is some certain areas in the border that a lot of the people that are managing those, like those stations and those jurisdictions in those areas, they're completely corrupt. Okay. So they have to go down and see each and every one of the managers that are managing those areas to see if they're actually following protocol, they're actually following the law, and they're following what their commander-in-chief has implemented on them. There's a lot of corruption going on these managers, these border security managers, and the people on the ground. Okay, the border patrol agents are angry because their managers, right, the people that they have to abide by, they are blatantly not following the law. And they're starting to speak out, folks, and that's a very good thing. These border security, they have been waiting for 8 years to do their job, and they finally are allowed to do it. But some of these corrupt managers are still not allowing them to successfully do their job. So here, let me just stop for a little while. Let me see what you guys are saying. It says, what part is illegal? So hard to understand, but yes, get the bad element out. What part is illegal? Well, when it comes to the managers, it's illegal for them to not follow the law. You know, it's illegal for them to not follow what has been implemented. You know, and that's the reason why all of these border agents are starting to speak out, because they're leaving huge chunks of areas completely unpatrolled. And it's not because the border agents don't want to patrol them. It's because their managers are telling them not to patrol them. And, you know, cartel members and illegals are abusing those areas that are not being patrolled. Like I said, we reported on this. It should be on the channel. So let's go to the next one. Took decisive action in Syria to combat the use of chemical weapons. So this one is the one where a bunch of quote unquote Trump supporters, right? The for-profit ones on social media went crazy. And they started saying, how dare Trump, you know, attack Syria over something that wasn't even true, or, a bunch. The community basically split on this. A lot of people were for it in Syria. A lot of people were against it in Syria. But at the end of the day, nobody knows the information that President Trump knows. Okay? You don't know what's going on the inside. Nobody knows what's going on the inside other than just them. And the whole Syria thing, I actually uploaded an interview. It was an interview that was done with Assad. And he was talking about how Assad himself thinks that it was fake. It was all planned out. It was fake. He doesn't know if the people that were, supposedly gassed were even there or they were even dead. Or those people can be previously, been killed and then they were just put down and everything was completely faked. According to him, that's what he believes because there's nobody did an investigation on the situation. It just all of a sudden happened. But President Trump, the way that I see it is that President Trump did something where he believes it was right. And now they're getting sanctions on Syria regarding those chemical weapon attacks. Okay, so this hasn't stopped. This hasn't changed. He's still very much in favor of what he did. He still believes what he did was right. And now there's sanctions going on in Syria. So all that stuff is developing. Well, as more information starts to come through, we'll be reporting it on the channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned. So it says impose new sanctions on 25 Iranian entities. So let's see what these 25 Iranian entities are. And it says, in only 2 weeks, President Trump delivers his promise to make America safe again. 25 Iranian entities sanctioned by the Trump administration for presidential actions to ensure the safety of American people, for speech outlining his national security plans, one meeting with first responders and law enforcement officials who helped make the president's inauguration a success, one meeting conveyed the cybersecurity expert to discuss the threats to our nation, 6 cabinet level nominees confirmed in roles vital to the nation's security, 16 diplomatic conversations with foreign leaders to promote an American first foreign policy. The president took action after putting Iran on notice for provocative action in violating of its international obligations. On February the 3rd, President Trump authorized the Treasury Department to sanction 25 individuals and entities that provide support to Iran's ballistic missile program and to the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps Quad Force. I hope I said that right. It says 4 of President Trump's executive actions were signed to ensure the safety of the American people. On the 25th of January, the president signed an executive order to enhance the public safety of the interior of the United States through enforcement of immigration law. On the 27th of January, the president signed an executive order that enhances the protections of American people from terrorist attacks by foreign nationals admitted into the states. On January the 28th, the president signed an executive order memorandum ordering the Secretary of Defense to work with other cabinet members to develop a plan to defeat ISIS. On January the 28th, the president signed an executive order memorandum establishing an organization of National Security Council. President Trump gave 4 speeches outlining his vision to keep the nation secure. On the 21st of January, the president visited the CIA headquarters to discuss the U.S. intelligence community. On January the 25th, the president spoke at the Department of Homeland Security to discuss U.S. national security and other issues vital to the country. On the 26th, he spoke to Congress, right? He discussed the southern border wall. On January the 27th, the president gave remarks to the U.S. military readiness at the Pentagon. And there is a lot of other ones, folks. I'll link all this stuff so you guys can go and check it out for yourselves. So there's many things that President Trump has either said or he spoke about regarding safety here in the United States. So let's move on. And it says President Trump is boosting U.S. military strength and empowering our military to fight. So he said that we are building our military to basically the biggest it's ever been, or it has been in a very long time. Okay, he's trying to recruit more. He's trying to bring up all of the, everything up to date when it comes to, our supplies, our weapons, right? Our planes, our ships, our submarines, all that stuff needed to be updated for a very long time. And finally, it's going to be updated. He spoke at the USS Gerald R. Ford. And if you want to check that out, I'll put a link to that. And you guys can check out what he said. So this is basically the outline of it, of what he said that day. And you guys can check it out. So the next one, it says advocating increase for national security budget by $54 billion. So right now they're in a showdown between getting the government shut down or not. Are they going to pass that budget that they need, or are they going to shut down the government? That has been going on for a while now. And the America First budget blueprint to make America great again is on our website, goldenstatetimes.com. You guys can go read the PDF. Everything is on there. Okay, and they were talking about the budget for absolutely everything. One of the key ones is like Department of Commerce, Defense, Education, Energy, Homeland Security, Interior, Justice, Labor, Treasury, Veteran Affairs, which is a really big one, and the Space Administration, which actually President Trump spoke yesterday to the astronauts at the space station. He wanted to congratulate, I think her name is Peggy. She's been out there for longer than anybody. So he wanted to congratulate her. So he had like a little conference with the people up there, with the astronauts up there. And he basically told them that his promise is to get us to Mars. So he wants space exploration to go back because that will encourage, the younger generation to become astronauts or to become physicists or to become, to be involved in space exploration. So now we're going to making government accountable to the people. President Trump is shaking up Washington and making more accountable to the American people. He initiated the process for the most ambitious agency reorganization in modern history. So this is Mick Mulvaney, and he's talking about making the federal government more efficient and effective for Americans. So here we go. Let's see what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Mick Mulvaney, and I'm President Trump's Director of the Office of Management and Budget. And behind me is the United States Federal Register, the list of regulations. Not the ones that were created in the last 200 years, not the ones that were created in the last 50. This is from the last 2 years alone. I don't like that, you don't like that, and President Trump doesn't like that. And he's asked me to try and fix it. And I'm here on this website today to ask you to help me fix it. Over the course of the next 6 months, all the federal agencies will be coming up with ideas that they think will make those agencies better. We'll be doing the same thing here at OMB, but we need your help. So if you've ever had any experience with the federal government, if you've had good stories or bad stories about how the federal government has served or failed to serve you, or just ideas that you might have generally about how we can fix things, this needs to be fixed. President Trump calls it draining the swamp. What it really means is making the government more accountable to you, more effective and more efficient. And we can't do that without your help. So thanks very much for stopping by the website. Give us your ideas and help us fix your government so that it serves you instead of the other way around.
So it says that on March the 13th, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that will make the federal government more efficient, effective, and accountable to you, the American people, because we're the one that pays our taxes. Most Americans pay over half in just pure taxes, right? We pay sales tax, government tax. You pay your taxes for paying bills, which is crazy. You pay your homeowner's tax. If you're a business owner, you only don't pay taxes to the city, the state, the government. You pay to everybody. So we pay an immense amount of money in taxes, and the government has to be more effective, efficient, and more accountable to the people who actually fund them, which is us, right? We pay our taxes. So we want to pay our taxes so the government will be more efficient for everybody. So if you do want to share your ideas with them, the date to send your ideas to, or the date that the due date for is June 12th. So if you want to do that, I'll have a link in our website, goldenstatetimes.com, and you guys can go and do that. And Mick Mulvaney needs your help, and if you can help him, that'll be great. So the next one, it says, launch the Opioid Abuse Commission. President Trump's, he went to a lot of states in the Northeast, and he talked about the epidemic that opioids has caused in different states like New Hampshire and Maine and Vermont and all these other states. And he's been talking about the opioid abuse because he said he's never really known about it until he actually went out to those places and asked the people, asked the governors, asked congressmen, what is a really big issue in your state? And a lot of these people said opioids. So he created an opioid abuse commission to fight, the abuse in those states. So it's a very good thing. So let's move on. 5-year lobbying ban and a lifetime foreign lobbying ban. 5 years lobbying ban and lifetime foreign lobbying ban. Basically what that is an ethics commitments by the executive branch appointees. So it says that Sanction 1 is an ethics pledge. Every appointee and every executive agency appointed on or after January the 20th, 2017 shall sign, and upon signing shall be truly committed to, or should be committed to, the following pledge upon becoming an appointee. It says, as a condition and as a consideration of my employment in the United States government as an appointee position invested in the public trust, I commit myself to the following obligations, which I understand are binding on me and are enforced under law. Number 1, I will not within 5 years of my termination of employment as an appointee in any executive agency in which I am appointed to serve engage in lobbying activities with respect to that agency. Number 2, if upon my departure from the government, I am covered by the post-employment restrictions of communicating with employees of my former executive agency set forth under Section 207, Title 18 of the United States Code, I agree that I will abide by those restrictions. Number 3, in addition to abiding by the limitations of paragraph 1 and 2, also agree upon leaving government service not to engage in lobbying activities which in respect to any covered executive branch official and non-career senior executive service appointee for the remainder of the administration. Number 4, I will not at any time after the termination of employment in the United States government engage in any activity on behalf of any foreign government, foreign political party, where it undertaken on January the 20th, 2017 would require me to register under the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938 as embedded. It goes on to say that number 5, I will not accept gifts from registered lobbyists or lobbying organizations for the duration of my service as an appointee. Number 6, I will not, for a period of 2 years from the date of my appointment, participate in any particular matter involving specific parties that is directly and subintentionally related to my former employer or former clients, including regulations and contracts. So there's a lot. There's a lot. Okay, so if you guys want to continue reading about this, like I said, it will all be linked. You guys can go and check it out. It's at the White House website, so you guys won't be able to miss it. But that's what they were talking about, lobbying, 5 years, lobbying ban, lifetime foreign lobbying ban if you are working for the government after January the 20th, 2017. Keeping his promise to improve care for America's veterans. This is really big, and this goes along with the budget that they're trying to pass. Or if they don't pass it, they're going to shut down the government until it passes. And basically what that is, the VA. The VA has been broken. It's extremely broken. We actually covered a story, I think it was like months ago, where a VA in a certain state had left dead bodies in its morgue for so long that the bodies were starting to liquefy. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but the VA has been known to be broken for a long time. There's a lot of veterans that are committing suicide. There's a lot of veterans that are going out and not being treated for different things that are wrong with them. There was an article that came out not long ago where this veteran had an infection of a cut in his arm or something. And it was starting to like decay. And there was an infection that was going from like his forearm going up his arm. I don't know if he lost his arm or not, but he was not being treated. And there's also reports saying that some veterans don't get care for up to 6 months after they call in. So they won't be seen until 6 months. So what they want is they want a type of care that you will be able to go to any doctor and, under their insurance, it will be covered, which I think is a very good thing, because our veterans don't only deserve respect, but they deserve to be taken care of. And taking care of veterans should be a very, very high priority for the American government, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be free. So we cannot repay them for the sacrifice that they did, but we can protect them just like they protected us. And that's what it's all about. And it says that save taxpayers over $700 million with F-35 renegotiation. They're talking about planes that they renegotiated, and they were going to cost, I don't know how much. President Trump was always able to go down to the negotiating table and say, hey, you know what? It's too expensive. You need to bring it down or we're going to find somebody else. So Lockheed Martin, which is the company that makes the F-35s, they renegotiated and said, okay, fine, we'll put it down. And President Trump saved the American taxpayer over $700 million on the new F-35s that are going to be made. Same thing with Boeing. When Boeing wanted like $1.6 billion to make 2 Air Force Ones, and President Trump said, nope, way too expensive. You need to bring the price down. And Boeing said that they will. Boeing said that they were able to make it for a lot less. And it's set to come out soon how much Boeing is willing to make those Air Force Ones. For what amount? For what amount they're able to get a negotiation in and get a deal created on that. And one of the last things on here is nominated and confirmed Justice Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. Now, Justice Gorsuch right now is doing very well. We reported I think it was like the second day after his first day, which was last Monday, I believe. And he sat at the bench and he started asking questions. It's like right out of the gate, he just started to ask questions, trying to get to the bottom of it, try to get to truth. And that's basically what a lot of people, he got a lot of support from that, because they said, you know what, he's not being around the bush. He's getting straight back to work, or getting to work. And, the federal court system has been in a slowdown because, you know, they were one person short, but now they're actually going to be able to get it back working and get all those, you know, all those cases resolved that have been pushed back because they were one short. Neil Gorsuch has the support of a lot of people. Neil Gorsuch has support of a lot of Democrats as well. A lot of people talk really good about him. Marco Rubio came out, I think, yesterday saying that any of the 16 nominee or any of the 16 people running for president in 2016 would have chosen Neil Gorsuch as the new associate justice. So again, I didn't know about Gorsuch until recently. I'm still doing a lot of research on him because I want to do a video about him, right? About him before becoming a justice. So stay tuned for that. Now, we went through what the White House put out regarding America First and the first 100 days of President Trump and what he has done. Now, let's go and talk about Obama in his first 100 days. Okay, so this is something from a website what date is this? May the 3rd, 2009. Timeline for Obama's first 100 days. This is his very first term. And it says a lot of key events during the first 100 days of Obama's presidency. I hope you guys can see this pretty good. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. So timeline for first 100 days of Obama's presidency. It says a look at key events during the first 100 days of Obama. On January the 22nd, Obama orders the closure of Guantanamo Bay Prison within the year and declares the United States will not engage in torture. So right off the bat, he wants to close Gitmo, and he wants to get all those terrorists that we had in there out. Why? Because Obama loves terrorism. Obama loves terrorists. And he thinks that those terrorists should not be there. They should be in regular prisons. If we are going to keep them in prison. Right? So on January the 23rd, Obama lifts the ban on federal funding for international organizations that perform or provide information on abortions. Oh boy. All right. So on January the 27th, Obama gives first formal television interview as president to Arab television stations, telling Muslims, quote, Americans are not your enemy. So that's when he first starts off with his apology tour, right? The limp-wristed idiot goes around saying, I'm sorry to everybody. He goes on, instead of going to American television, telling him, hey, you know what? I'm your new president. I'm here for you, blah, blah, blah. He goes to an Arab television station and tells Muslims, Americans are not your enemy. Holy crap. All right. So, on January the 29th, Obama signs first bill into law. So it's called the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, making it easier for workers to sue for pay discrimination. All right, so this is the first instance, well, maybe not the first instance, but in Obama, this is the first time that he comes up with the whole pay gap, the lie, the big lie of the pay gap between workers or between men and women. So what's the next one? On February the 3rd, former Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle, I hope I said that right, withdraws as Obama's nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now, why did he, if someone knows in the chat, why did he withdraw from the Secretary of Health and Human Services? Let me know why he withdrew. But as you guys can see, on February 3rd, his first withdrawal. There was a reason why. Okay. but I'm pretty sure that the mainstream media didn't make it seem like, oh my God, one of Obama's nominees just withdrew himself because of whatever scandal, I'm pretty sure there were crickets instead of that. Obama holds first primetime news conference urging Congress to enact his economic stimulus plan. That's on February the 9th. February the 12th, Senator Judd Gregg, Republican of New Hampshire, withdraws as Obama's nominee for Secretary of Commerce. So that's the second withdrawal. Okay, Judd Gregg. He's the second person to withdraw himself as a nominee for Secretary of Commerce. On February the 13th, Congress completes action on $787 billion economic stimulus package of tax cuts. It says, and new spending intended to jolt the country out of the worst recession in 50 years. That's funny. It says on February the 17th, Obama signs the stimulus measure into law. February the 19th, Obama makes his first visit to a foreign country as president, meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper during the 7-hour visit to Ottawa. February the 22nd, Obama hosts governors for his first formal dinner at the White House. On the 23rd of February, Obama holds Fiscal Responsibility Summit at the White House, signaling his intention to tackle health care, the budget, and Social Security. On the 24th of February, Obama addresses a joint session of Congress for the first time, focusing on economic issues. February the 26th, Obama unveils $3.6 trillion federal budget for 2010 and estimates the federal deficit for 2009 will balloon to $1.75 trillion. General Flynn was in. So on February 27th, Obama announces withdrawal of all American combat forces in Iraq by August 2010, but says that U.S. will leave tens of thousands of support troops behind. On March the 5th, Obama hosts day-long White House summit on health care. So right off the bat, Obamacare, he was trying to push or to edge on Obamacare since the very, very beginning. He wanted that to be the staple of his presidency, his Obamacare. March the 9th, Obama reverses former President George W. Bush's ban on federally funded embryonic stem cell research, declares that all federal scientific research will be walled off from political influences. On March the 11th, Obama signs a $410 billion spending bill to keep the government running for the rest of 2009 budget year. He calls the measure imperfect because it includes money for small projects set aside by members of Congress, a practice he pledged to end during the 2008 campaign. So that is the very first pledge that he went back on. Okay? So that's strike one in reality for Obama. He couldn't go through with it, right? He pledged to end that type of spending, and he couldn't do it. So that was strike one for Obama. Well, actually, that was like strike, out of the ones that I said, like strike 12. But still, the one biggest strike is for not keeping that promise of his campaign. March the 16th, Obama declares he will stop issuer American International Group, Inc. from paying millions in executive bonuses after receiving billions in federal bailouts. On March 19th, Obama becomes the first sitting president to appear on The Tonight Show. Like, if that's such a huge accomplishment, okay. On March 20th, Obama releases video messaging the people of Iran in celebrating Nowruz, the Persian New Year, and the first day of spring. Again, not only does he go on Arab television, within the first maybe week or 2 weeks of his presidency, saying, "Hey, Muslim people, we are your friends, not your enemy. We are sorry." Right? Starts off his apology tour. On March the 20th, he releases a message. Instead of releasing a message to the American people, he releases a message to the people of Iran, which hate the United States. And it's not nothing new that they hate the United States. In the last year, the Iranians have hated the United States for, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea how long, but for a very, very, very long time. March the 26th, Obama holds open for questions, the first virtual town hall meeting at the White House. March the 27th, Obama announces a comprehensive new strategy for Afghanistan and Pakistan, including a deployment of 4,000 more military trainers to Afghanistan to train Afghani troops. March the 30th, Obama asserts unprecedented government control over the auto industry, rejecting turnaround plans by General Motors Corp. And Chrysler LLC, and engineering the ouster of GM Chief Executive Rig Wagoner. I hope I said that right. I completely forgot about that. Obama and his administration took over General Motors and Chrysler. I completely forgot about that. That was on March the 30th, right at the beginning of his presidency. March the 31st, Obama travels to London for the first stop in an 8-day, 6-country tour of Europe and the Middle East. So that was, I think that was the beginning of his apology tour. Obama meets with Russian President Dmitry Medvedev and announces the start of negotiations for a new strategic arms control treaty. Obama and the First Lady Michelle Obama have a private audience with Queen Elizabeth at Buckingham Palace. Obama attends the Group of 20 Economic Summit in London, where leaders agree to bail out developing countries, stimulate world trade, and regulate financial firms more strongly. On April the 3rd, Obama speaks and takes questions from a crowd, mostly French and German citizens, at a town hall meeting in Strasbourg, France. On April the 4th, Obama attends NATO summit in Strasbourg and gets a commitment from allies to send up to 5,000 more military trainers and police to Afghanistan. On April the 5th, Obama launches the effort to rid the world of nuclear weapons, calling them during a speech in Prague the most dangerous legacy of the Cold War. On April the 6th, Obama speaks to Turkey Parliament, declares the United States is not and will never be at war with Islam. Of course, because Obama loves Islam. Obama himself is a Muslim. And it says that on April the 7th, Obama pays a surprise visit to Iraq, meeting with U.S. troops and Iraqi leaders. April the 9th, Obama sends a request to Congress for $83.4 billion for military and diplomatic cooperations in Iraq and Afghanistan. Most of that money never went to the military. I'm pretty sure it all went to pay his buddies in Afghanistan and also in Iraq. On April the 10th, Obama says the economy is showing glimmers of hope, according to him, after meeting with top economic officials, unnamed economic officials. On April the 12th, Obama authorizes the military rescue of American sea captain taken hostage by pirates in the waters off Somalia. The rescue results in the death of 3 pirates, the capture of the 4th, and freeze of Captain Richard Phillips, which actually became a movie. Hollywood took it over. This is the administration announces the Cuban American will be permitted to take unlimited transfers of money and visits to relatives in Cuba. The decision also clears way for more regulations and has stopped American companies from bringing high-end tech services and information to Cuba. So that was one of the first things, and it actually took him from the beginning of his presidency till the last month of his presidency, when he was a lame duck president, to actually open up between relations between Cuba and the United States. It says that the Obamas, on April the 14th, the Obama introduced the new puppy Bo in a photo session at the White House lawn. April the 16th, Obama meets with Mexican President Felipe Calderon on his first trip to Mexico and Latin America. The leaders agreed to cooperate in combating drug violence along the U.S.-Mexico border, which never actually happened. It never happened. Okay. Obama never did absolutely anything to combat drug violence. Instead, he actually sold weapons to the cartels. Instead, he made it easier for cartels to bring over drugs into the United States. Obama, on April the 17th, Obama releases memos from the Bush administration authorizing harsh interrogation techniques about no CIA employees who followed the memos will be prosecuted. So here he goes again, helping out the enemy, helping out the terrorist. You're right. So on April the 17th, Obama travels to Trinidad and Tobago for the 34 Nations Summit of the Americas and declares that he seeks a new beginning with Cuba. On April the 18th, at the summit, Obama shakes hands with Venezuela's Hugo Chavez, the socialist anti-American leader who had called Bush the devil. And actually, he said at a UN meeting that he was going to be at, Bush spoke first, and then Hugo Chavez was going to speak right after him. And when Hugo Chavez went up to the podium, he says, "It smells like sulfur," because the devil just spoke. It still smells like sulfur where I'm standing. I thought it was hilarious. I don't like Hugo Chavez. I don't like socialism, but I still thought it was hilarious that he said that it still smelled like sulfur because Bush spoke, the rhino. On April the 19th, Obama calls on Cuba to release political prisoners as a way to improve relations with the U.S. On April the 20th, Obama holds the first formal cabinet meeting with his administration, ordering department heads to slice spending by $100 million, a tiny fraction of the $3.6 trillion federal budget he proposed a month earlier. On April the 21st, Obama leaves the door open for prosecution of federal lawyers who wrote harsh interrogation memos during the Bush administration and said that there is an investigation and it should be done by an independent commission. So none of these things that he did were ever challenged by anybody. Bummer, the devil. Says Obama on April the 22nd, Obama makes his first visit as president to Iowa, the state where his 2008 Democratic caucus victory launched him towards the presidency. So it took him until the 22nd to go back and say thank you for giving me the presidency, basically pushing me over the top. April the 23rd, Obama tells congressional leaders he will not support creation of an independent commission to investigate the Bush administration hard interrogation techniques. So he went back on them 2 days after, where he tells congressional leaders he will not support the creation of an independent commission. First, he says, yeah, we're going to do an independent commission in order to investigate these people. 2 days later, oh, wait, no, never mind. We don't want that commission. We're just going to do it ourselves. On April the 24th, Obama declares to brand the early 20th century massacre of an estimated 1.5 Armenians in Turkey as a genocide, breaking a campaign promise. So this is the second campaign promise he broke. Strike two. Okay? Broke a promise on the first one. Now broke a promise on the second one. April the 27th, Obama says the government is concerned about the spreading swine flu virus, but there is not yet a cause for alarm. And as you know how that played out. On April the 28th, Obama welcomes Pennsylvania Senator, Arlene Specter's switch from Republican to the Democratic Party. I didn't even know that happened. But that person switched from Republican to Democrat. Let's see who that person is. All right, give me 1 second. Oh, okay. So Arlene, I don't know, is a former U.S. senator. And he switched from Republican to Democrat. All right, treason. All right, that's cool. All right, so April the 29th, Obama urges parents to prepare for the possibility that children's schools could be closed temporarily if swine flu cases spread to them. Assessing his first 100 days, Obama says, "I'm pleased with the progress we made, but I'm not satisfied." Progress. 2 huge strikes. He went back on 2 promises of his presidency, and he says that he's made huge progress, but he's still not happy. Not only did he go on Arab television and said, "Hey, Muslims, Americans are not your enemy, they're your friends." Instead of, going on American television and saying, "Hey, how's it going? I'm your new president. Thank you very much for choosing me to represent you, to work for you." He went on Muslim television. Crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, folks, those were the first 100 days of Obama, first 100 days of Trump. And crazy, crazy stuff. And right now, what's going to happen tomorrow is the entire Senate is going to be called to the White House for a briefing. Nobody knows what it's about. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But we actually did a video on this. We reported this. It should be on the channel. Go and check it out. It's going to happen tomorrow. If you have any footage, it will be streamed here live. Don't forget. I just wanted to bring that up again, just in case you forgot. And the other thing that I wanted to cover real quick before I log off is illegal immigrants can now obtain IDs in Chicago. Now, why are they doing this, especially in Chicago? It's because they want to do the exact same thing as they did in California. How did Hillary Clinton win the presidency here in California? It's because illegal aliens were able to get driver licenses. But now illegal immigrants can now obtain IDs in Chicago. Why? Because they know that voter ID laws are going to be implemented within the next few years. So by the time the re-election comes along, the Democrats are able to take over Chicago more than what they did this year. More illegal immigrants are going to be able to, they're going to be able to vote. So what does it say? I'm actually going to make a video out of this, so I'm going to do it right now as we're talking to each other here. So give me 1 second while I fix this. And let's see here. There we go. Okay. All right, folks. So I'm going to do a video on this. It's actually going to be uploaded until tomorrow, but let's do a video about this. Give me 1 second. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The city of Chicago has just allowed illegal immigrants to obtain municipal identifications. It says that the Chicago Sun-Times reports that the city council voted 44-4 in favor of making such IDs available to the city's populace, including illegal immigrants. At the urging of Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who stated that the city council had a moral obligation to provide these IDs and to bring people out of the shadows. So that's what they're masking it under. He said, "We are a welcoming city," Emanuel said. "Everybody in this chamber has, at one time or another, talked about taking people out of the shadows and into the daylight to help them." So what does this do? Not only does this give the ability for illegal aliens to vote, it gives the ability for illegal aliens to get government issued stuff like, healthcare, and also Section 8, and also what's it called? Welfare. I'm sorry, I can't even think. Welfare. And it says that Emmanuel has also argued his necessity to help illegal immigrants feel protected, especially after the dreamer that was recently deported. He said that any information collected on illegal aliens through this issuing IDs will be basically put off to the side so the federal government won't be able to obtain it. That's insane. Holy crap. Okay, he says, to protect confidentiality, the city will ask minimal information and will not ask applicants about their immigration status, nor will the city retain copies of applicants' personal information. They knew, okay, because they learned from California. They stood off to the side and see how it played out in California, and now they know that they're not going to keep a paper trail on these people because they don't want the federal government to find out who they are, where they are, any of that stuff. So they're going to give minimal information. Well, what is this minimal information going to be? I'm pretty sure it's going to be just your first and last name. That's all the information that they're going to ask. And you can go by an alias if you want. You can give a random date of birth. You can give a random address if you want to. Okay. So they're protecting illegals, folks. They're protecting them. Jeez. Okay, it says the name and date of birth will be the only information retained by the city. No home address will be required. What did I tell you? The name and date and birth, the name and date of birth is going to be required. Nothing else. No home address, no nothing. They don't want to know where they are. They don't want to know who you are. They don't want to know anything. They just give them an alias and a fake date of birth. Just make yourself over 18 and you'll be fine. Applicants will also be able to self-designate their gender, according to him, a nod to the LGBT community. So you're going to be able to you're going to be able to specify or choose of the 525 million different sexes that exist in our biology, according to LGBTQ. It says the municipal ID will not be limited to undocumented individuals and will be available for people with disabilities, also people who are homeless and are victims of domestic violence, who will be available to designate an alternative address. Those IDs will be eligible for various programs in the city. According to Hot Air's Jazz Shah, notes that the local government, it says, are best suited to provide aid to those truly in need. But the wheels come off the wagon as soon as you start including illegal aliens in the program, since they aren't supposed to be receiving any public services paid by the taxpayers to begin with. One of the few things aldermen who voted against the measure objected in the $3 million price tag of, because it's going to cost taxpayers $3 million, saying that the matter should be under a preview of the state and the federal government. Chicago is already one of the largest sanctuary cities in the country. Emmanuel stated that his commitment to maintaining the city's status of sanctuary cities, this move giving IDs, is the latest example of his thumbing his nose at the federal government. It says that it's worth noting that Chicago is experiencing a massive amount of murder. With a clear link between illegal immigration and crime, the last thing the Windy City should be doing is providing another incentive for illegals to stay in the city. But of course they're going to do it. Of course they're going to give them, those illegals an ID because they wanted to vote. It'll make it 1,000,000 times easier for them to go to the voting booth. Then they can start their propaganda maybe a year, 2 years before the election and say, hey, you know what? Remember when we gave you IDs? Well, we want you guys to repay us for the good deed by going to the voting booth and voting for the Democrat that got chosen. It's crazy, folks. It's crazy. But let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And like always, like this video, share this video, subscribe if you are new. Check out our previous videos and stay tuned for our future ones. President Donald Trump is having a rally this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So make sure that you guys set the notification, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family. Share it on Facebook and Twitter and all those other social media sites. And I hope to see you guys in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone. If you guys like what we do, subscribe if you are new. Also check the link or the notification bell so you can get a heads up when we go live. We hope to see you guys here next time. But until then, peace. All right, so that's being uploaded tomorrow. I put a lot of my personal opinion in that, but I try not to do it as much. But this one is just way too out there. Giving people IDs, giving illegal aliens driver licenses here in California. It's like if we're still living under the Obama shadow. President Trump does nothing about this. He says, oh, well, we're just going to leave it out to the states to take care of it. But as you guys can see, leaving it out to the states is not always the best option, because other states are going to say, hey, you know what? It's working out in Chicago, right? The mayor gave IDs to all the illegals, so now they're able to vote. How about we do it too? And then when people start saying, hey, whoa, why is the federal government allowing to do this? The federal government says, well, President Trump said that we're going to leave it out to the states. So if you don't like it, leave that state. That's how it's going to go. I don't know if the Trump administration wants wants his citizens to become nomads and go from state to state to state until you come down to a state that actually, goes with what you believe in. And all of a sudden, when they choose another mayor, another governor, oh, here we go again. We have to move because the state is going to start enacting freaking crazy stuff, like giving illegals IDs and giving illegals, benefits and stuff like that, letting them vote, not deporting them when they're supposed to. But since it's the states, that are going to be choosing this, then all right, let's move to another state. And I think that's where we're going to become, folks. We're going to become nomads because according to the Trump administration, we have to abide by what the state says, right? That's what's going to happen, I guess. So that's what's happening in Chicago, along with the murder and all these other kinds of crazy stuff going on. Nobody in Chicago likes Obama anyway. I bet. And it's crazy because there's an article that came out, I think it was a few months ago, where right before the inauguration, or during the time of the inauguration, where they said that gangs were going to get together and, they're going to work together so people won't, there won't be so much chaos, so much crime and murder and all that stuff. And President Trump, had to come down and, talk about it and try to, make a deal or whatever. But it fell through the cracks and it never happened. So, who knows? Texas doesn't issue IDs to illegals. Well, of course, Texas doesn't. But there is some cities in Texas that are trying to do it. Let me just tell you that. But yeah, folks, that's what's going on. 101st days of President Trump. 101st days of Obama. Illegal immigrants are now being given IDs so they can get government benefits, and also so they can be used as extra votes to push Democrats over the top in certain districts. so Democratic senators can, get the win of that state, so Democrats can actually win the presidency next year. Let us know what you guys think, because I think it's just crazy. So, yeah, folks, that's it for today. This was just like a spur of the moment kind of thing where I just wanted to make a quick stream. Haven't done these in a while. And let us know what you guys think. I hope to see you guys here next time. I don't know if any of you guys are new, the ones that are on the chat right now. But if you are, check out the links in the description below. Also, subscribe if you're new. If you're watching this after it's uploaded, subscribe. And check out our previous videos. We uploaded all day today, news stories. So check out those. We try to keep you guys up to date on everything that's going on. So hope to see you guys here next time, folks. Thank you very much for all those that came out. Let's see who's out here. 001, Katie, Carolyn, Coffee Girl, Deacon, Dick Ryder, Karen, Mikey, New Norm, Trump, Owen, Philip, Rich, Robbie, Slow Formula, Susan, and Wheeltims. I hope I said that right. Thank you very much for coming out. And thank you very much, folks, for listening. And see you guys soon. Like I said, check out our previous videos that we just uploaded. And let us know what you guys think. Hope to see you guys next time, folks. Peace.